Wonderful. Get started just a minute. We have a few more coming in, but I want to thank everybody for coming today. We are Gold Canyon Community Inc. And so our organization is a nonprofit organization comprised of volunteers. And we host monthly meetings for our community based on their feedback. And so many of you have been coming routinely to our monthly meetings. So first of all, I want to thank you very much for continuing to do that. And it's wonderful to see new residents of Gold Canyon attending our community meetings. So everybody should have picked up an agenda. But first, we're just going to talk about Gold Canyon Community Inc. and our mission is really about the betterment of Gold Canyon. So we listen to Gold Canyon residents through surveys. We're focused on three main areas: transportation, preservation and conservation, trails as well. And we do a lot more. So look at our communications that come out on Facebook. We have our website is on the agenda today, where you could take a look at all the areas in our committees that work to really improve Gold Canyon and listen to what our Gold Canyon residents are asking for. And that I'm going to introduce our board members for Gold Canyon Community Inc. So we have Dave Coward here is our president of Gold Canyon Community Inc., as well as Jerry Stevenson is our vice president. I am the secretary. We have Isabel here. Isabel leads as committee chair of our Preservation and Conservation Committee. And June Russo, who doesn't know June? There you go. So great. And not surprisingly, she heads our community, right? Committee and does a phenomenal job at through Gold Canyon Strong. And we also have one of our members of Gold Canyon Community, Joe, here today, who actually helped organize this meeting here today for you based on your feedback.
Sure. Dick is on the line.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. Hi, Dick. Great. And we have Dick. Oh, Dick Richards. And so Dick is also one of our board members, and he leads our water conservation. If you've seen our quarterly presentations, Water More Precious Than Gold, we will be having another one of those coming up too, and Dick leads that. So you can see the wide range of activities that we are involved in. And, you know, shout out to Jerry recently, worked with Liberty Utilities to really even out the fee structure to make sure it's fair to all Gold Canyon residents. So I want to thank all of you for coming today. And I'm going to turn it over to Joe, who's going to introduce our guest speakers today.
Thank you, Terry. Good morning, everybody. I'm not a board member. June invited me to attend a couple meetings, and I did. And never raise your hand at a meeting because then against no. Actually, this concern came up. I heard it from my neighbors. I heard it from other residents in Gold Canyon. So I brought it up at a meeting and asked the board, gee, I know this is what I'm hearing. Do you think that we could invite some speakers to be part of a panel so that people can obtain information about the trash services available? Because I know there's concerns among residents of Gold Canyon. So I, again, want to personally thank James and Larry for being here. James is ready to play golf afterward at a whole golf course out here in Gold Canyon. So let me introduce them. Larry Williams there is from Waste Connections of Arizona, and he is the Sales and Marketing Director and Municipality Liaison. Wow, that's quite a title there.
I know, I was trying to get him on a business.
Yeah. And James Ralech, is that how you pronounce your last name? Ralech? Okay. Is from Republic Services, and he is the division sales manager. So a couple guidelines. They're going to each do a presentation, maybe about 15 minutes or so. please hold your questions until the end of all the presentations, okay? And we'll have time for Q&A and wrap it up about 5 to 10, but if you have further questions, you have the contact information. Try to keep your questions general, and I'm gonna turn it over. I think Larry, you were gonna present first.
Sure.
That's right.
Okay, thank you so much for being here.
No problem. Good morning, everybody. So I'm sure you guys got the news on Friday that Renaissance Festivals will be extended for 3 more months. Sure. Larry Williams, Sales and Marketing Director for what used to be Right Away Disposal, now Waste Connections of Arizona. I've been with the company since 2014. So I was there in the RAD days and saw the transition to Waste Connections. And so that's a little bit about me. Go ahead and swing to the next slide. So talk a little bit about the history of RAD and Waste Connections. RAD was developed in 2007 by 2 individuals that basically got a loan from their dad, bought their trash truck, and ran a business out of the cab of it for the first year. It's the perfect success story of what's possible. They ran the HR, the sales, the marketing, everything out of the cab of this truck, and they built it for the first year up until they got their first HOA, which was here in Gold Canyon, which is Peralta. Peralta was our first HOA. It was enough to bring in enough capital to get out of the cab of the truck, get into an office, hire a receptionist, and from there it just exploded. Their belief back then was to provide a service that wasn't one of the 2 national chains or providers, and something a little more economically affordable. And so that was the model for the first couple of years. Kept on developing the company, and in 2010 got our first municipality, which was the town of Queen Creek, and that really kind of blossomed the company into where it is today. We have 11 different municipalities that we now service, 278 different HOAs between Phoenix and Tucson. We are the largest trash provider in Gold Canyon. We have 7 different HOAs in Gold Canyon. In 2015, we opened our first MRF, recycling, basically it's a recycling center, material recovery facility. We opened up in 2015, $11 million adventure that we put into it. All the recyclables that are collected out of the Gold Canyon in every municipality that we service goes to this facility. There's gonna be a video that we're gonna be showing here in a few minutes. We use inmate labor. The inmates come up from Florida. Something I'm pretty passionate about. And I'll talk a little bit more about the inmates that we have working for us. The landfill we opened in 2015, which is between here and Tucson. Does everybody know where Picacho Peak is? So we're just east of that, and that's the regional landfill for us that takes in the material from Tucson and Phoenix. And 2015, we also opened up our 19th Avenue Lower Buckeye location. That extended the footprint of service for us into the west side. We also service the city of Goodyear, which is our largest municipality of 27,000 residents. So that material that we collect from that community comes to our 19th Avenue location. 2018, we were purchased by Waste Connections, and it was a pretty difficult day for me. I never thought I'd work for corporate America, and I loved the family's business. And but I think after drinking the Kool-Aid and being part of the company, I've seen a lot of the benefits of it, and more importantly, the technology that goes, the safety that's involved. There's a great deal of belief on our safety, and I'll talk a little bit more about the technology and advances. And over the last 2 years, we've purchased 5 different companies in Arizona, mostly hauling trash companies. We are the second largest trash and toilet provider in Arizona. I never thought I'd be in the toilet business, but I'm it has its days. So, and we do a lot of events. In fact, we just got them doing Ostrich Festival, NHRA, drag racing. Sadly, it's going to be the last race in Arizona for that facility. They're shutting that facility down. Country Thunder. So those are a lot of the venues that we do where we do both toilets and trash for. So let me show you a video of our facility, which is just 5 short miles from here. How many people utilize RAD? Okay, great. So our facility that does the service for Gold Canyon is only 5 miles from here, and that's on Baseline in Idaho. Go ahead and double click that.
Okay.
It's a 32 acre campus. And
This one?
Yes.
I'll share.
So a lot of self-haul. Has anybody been to our facility? No. Okay, great. So that's our self-haul facility. Basically, all the operations for the east side is ran out of here. Customer service, sales, billing, all of our operations, our recycling facility, our maintenance, our cart distribution and upkeep is all done out of this particular location. Makes it unique is that we have all these tools to provide and maintain our services, more importantly for Gold Canyon.
It's large.
It's a very sizable.
One. Next slide.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Boy, what a beautiful backdrop there. So this is our MRF, and so all the recycling comes to this facility, and we basically single stream recycling is collected. That makes it easy for Arizona. Is that if you don't make recycling easy, nobody wants to use it. So all recyclables into one container, and then it comes to our facility. We do all of the collection, the separation, and then we do all the marketing of it. We're very big and where we how we market our materials. We try to keep it regionally. All of our newsprint and paper that we collect goes to a company here in Chandler called United Fibers, the cellulose insulation out of it. Does anybody know what cellulose insulation is? Been up in your attic and see that white fluffy stuff? That's 85% recycled newsprint. That's what the biggest insulating product that we manufactured in Arizona. All of our plastics are sent down to Nogales, and they're chipped and extruded into new plastics that are typically shipped to California for new products. All of our cardboard is pulped in California. Likewise with our steel is recycled. Our aluminum beverages, your guys' beer and soda cans, we send that to Anheuser-Busch out of in Texas, and probably the commodity that's recycled the quickest. And that's our recycling facility. One of the great things with Waste Connections was the introduction of technology that a smaller company like RAD couldn't afford. So all of our trucks have GPS. We know exactly where our trucks have been, whether when we do audits at the end of the day, whether if they actually did their route correctly. If we see that they didn't do collection, and it happens, we will miss a street or maybe a couple streets. New driver training sometimes doesn't know the community very well. So we'll double check and audit. If we find it, we'll send the truck back out. We try to get it done the same day. If not, it's done the next day. But this technology has been able to provide some needed backbone to just making sure that we're doing the best customer service that we have. Third eye technology is it's a great thing. And James, I'm sure that a lot of Republic trucks do have the technology, which is basically we have 7 different cameras that record service 360 degrees. So if there's a situation where a homeowner calls up and says, hey, you guys didn't service my can, we can actually go in and look and see if we actually did miss it. A lot of times where homeowners will get into a habit where our truck will come in and service between 9 and 9:30. And that's the expectation of service. You know, a lot of times there's road construction, there might be a new driver, there's a truck might be broken down, or weather is a big contributor to it. And we can see, you know, where we might have been in here earlier and the homeowner just based on habit, put their tracks out, not at 6 o'clock, put it out at the regular time at 9 o'clock. And so they missed out service, and, you know, they'll say that we had my cart out, but we can actually see that. We can also see whether there was something that where we had missed the service, and I can actually go in and say, yeah, we missed it. So we can go back and do that. This technology has been fantastic for us, and checking our service to make sure that we're providing it. Our trucks they're on the STAR system. So basically the trucks that we utilize are a hinge truck, like a tractor trailer style. And what that does is that it provides less wear and tear on the streets, opposed to the fixed frame style trucks. We have both in Gold Canyon, but we use a lot of the tractor trailer, which on a straight axle truck, frame truck, when they go around the cul-de-sac, especially when it's tight, they'll drag that axle on the rears and they fold up a lot of that pavement to stretch it. And over time, that's what you see in these photographs right here. So the tractor trailer does less of that. And so it's one of the technologies in our trucks that we promote with our municipalities. Very excited about it because they are responsible for their streets. There's a lot of HOAs that we have here in Gold Canyon that are also responsible for the streets. So this truck right here is one of the things we like to promote. It's been fantastic for service. Now I know everybody wants to talk about rates. I always love talking about rates. So our twice a week service in Gold Canyon is $32 per month plus fuel and admin fees. And then what recycling it's added, it's $13.89 per month added to that. So what we try to promote, which is every municipality in the state of Arizona, is once a week trash and recycling. A lot of people, how many people have twice a week trash? So I won't try to sell why once a week trash and recycling doesn't work, because you get the problem about that. But it is a service that the municipalities they provide, and it's proven service that it's all that homeowners really need. A lot of homeowners say that, you know, I'm here for the summer and I need twice a week trash because my trash starts stinking after 3 days. If you really bag it properly, I mean, I have trash that's in my can where I missed service and didn't put it out, and it's out there for 2 weeks. And as long as it's properly bagged, it won't stink. So we push twice a week trash and recycling. It's also a better carbon footprint on the environment. You have trucks that are in here less with once a week trash and recycling, but it is a service that is a lot of people demand in Gold Canyon. So we have to provide both twice a week trash and we provide once a week recycling. So that's our price outlay. Vacation homes, we do a complimentary 90-day at no charge. And then after 90 days, we do a $50 reactivation fee. So you can go 6 months, it's only cost you $50 to be on a vacation home. And then after 90 days, we automatically restore service. So a lot of people having carts, that's a large investment for us. And when they go unused for half the year, it's hard to regain that capital. When we do cart repairs, if you have a broken cart or you need new carts, we do it within the same week of service. So if your service day is on a Tuesday and you call like maybe the Friday before, we do our cart exchanges and service the same day that we do our service. Reason why is that we'll empty the cart, and that way our cart team isn't pulling full carts, and they'll pull an empty cart and replace it with a new cart that's cracked. And we crack carts. I mean, after a time they get broken, and it's something that we do, but we're very proactive in making sure that we get them exchanged quicker than normal. So, and that's it from my presentation.
Well, great, Larry, very thorough. Want to make sure, who needs a pen? We can go get you one if you want to jot some questions down on the back of your agenda. If you all picked up one, great. We do have some out on the table. If you haven't tried a donut and you feel like, gosh, I need a little sugar right now, feel free to go over and get you some, or some coffee while we change the PowerPoint over. We are, Larry and James, if we put this up on our website, is that okay, your presentation? So if people want to go back and refer to it, then that way you certainly can as well too, okay? And you have information regarding Larry and James here as well. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and introduce James here. And I'm going to get up your presentation, James. Thank you.
Secure. Yeah, no problem.
Oh,
So when we get up, I'm James Ralech, I'm Division Sales Manager. I take care of East and also North Phoenix. We have a BU, a business unit that's in Mesa, and also one that's in Cape Creek. So I manage both those divisions. I am very upfront, very transparent, and honest to a fault. So if you have any real questions, you're gonna get a real answer. So if anything at all.
I didn't. Sorry
I
about
did come from Texas, so I migrated, so I apologize for that. I came back in July last year.
Stop.
So I was very new to the market. I was able to hit the ground running out sales and become in Texas as
Yeah.
well.
Sorry about that, James.
I've done a very good job of explaining a lot of things that we have as well. We have everything other than the truck.
Where's the
Just
final?
truck is very unique in regards to what they have. We don't have that kind of truck in regards to the way it's actually in the pictures. But otherwise, all the other programs that he has, from the camera keys, being able to track your truck, figure out where the stops are, what is your container service, all that stuff. We have that stuff as well. But he did a very good job of that.
Share screen.
Share, hit that.
I did.
Mine's gonna be pretty short and simple.
Click on
It's gonna be pretty much cut to the
It's
point.
this one here.
My biggest thing is I want to know what you want. And I want to be able to give you those answers. And that way I can help you be
For the
successful
other
in
one.
migrating through the waste world, moving forward. If you are open market, you're not just limited to residential carts. Obviously, if you want a small container, still container from a front load perspective, you can do that as well. We can give you pricing around that. Especially if you have horses or any of those things as well. Yeah, so I'm not going to read strictly off the PowerPoint. Go ahead, sorry.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, James. Appreciate it.
So we're huge into sustainability. One of the largest acquisitions that we've taken on is US Ecology, which is going to give us the opportunity to be able to do turnkey services for everybody. What that means for you is basically anything that's can't go directly to landfill, that has to be profiled, is monitored by the EPA, has to be special waste, so on and so forth. We're able to take care of all those facilities as well. We're trying to really get around the piece of being able to divert as much material as possible. A good example of that is we actually are building a facility in Las Vegas right now that is actually going to take all of our plastics, and we're actually going to take those and recycle them, but we're going to recycle it and actually make a water bottle. So we're actually making something out of it, and now we're going to sell those and distribute those. So that's really cool. We do have a new MRF, but you talked about recycling facility that's going to be built in North Phoenix. So we actually removed ourselves from the Phoenix recycling facility. That's now operated by Waste Management, because we have a new one that we're building right now. It actually will become actually start functioning either May, June, or July. I'm not going to give you an exact month because obviously things can happen, but it will be this year. So that's really nice as well. Another thing that we're doing is we're actually also acquiring electric trucks. Literally, they double the cost in regards to buying an electric truck. But on the back end, obviously, there's a lot of tax impact there too. But roughly, that truck costs about $700,000 a piece, roughly. So we are trying to lead the market in regards to that. He established that he was second largest when it comes to, what do you say, waste and.
Toilets.
Yeah, we don't do toilets. We are second largest though, and that's based off of revenue. But yeah, so when it comes to the actual structure, WM is number one, we're second, and then of course Waste Connections is number three. We don't do toilets, so I'm glad because I could give you a little joke around that, but
At my expense.
I'm not gonna say it on camera, though. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna say it on camera. I have somebody record watch this. So. But so our goal with the electric truck piece is actually we're gonna divert half of our fleet by within the next 8 years. Yeah, so that's the goal. And we're basically like right around 46, 47 states is where we're at. So you can imagine the amount of fleet that we have and the largest that we have. But that's going to give us a lot of opportunity around being able to take on some cities that, hey, and sustainability is important to them, right? Some advantages for the people is going to be, it's a hell of a lot quieter, you know, as far as dumping, all that piece. And obviously the fuel piece and being able to divert that from an electric standpoint. And hopefully, you know, my hope is obviously we can transport some of the costs that we're saving to our, you know, obviously our customers. So there's a lot of good nuances about that. Yeah, so we can go on the next slide.
Okay. Thanks, Jane.
Standard cart, we're going to skip that. What we're going to provide is basically a 94 gallon or, you know, roughly 94 gallon cart is what we provide. We don't provide multiple sizes. It's going to be a standard size as far as the 94 gallon. It'll be the same for recycling as well as for the waste piece. Okay. Here's the pricing. If you are in an open market, obviously you can go once a week if you'd like, and that's the rate that'll be standard. Only thing that'll be on top of this is going to be tax. That's the only thing you can't see.
You can't see the price. Can you tell me what it is?
No, it's kind of by the way. Yeah, so one time a week we're talking $15 basically per month. You can do a quarterly bill as well if you'd like to do a quarterly bill. Twice a week is going to be at 21, and then try some recycling week at 20. Delivery will be $15 for 2 containers. Exchange is $15 per container. All I'm doing is covering my cost on that. I actually outsource it to a vendor to be able to do those services when it comes to the actual exchange and delivery. So that's all I'm doing is covering my cost when it comes to those rates. The rate increase, the cap is going to be at 1% per year. And what I mean by that is basically a price increase. So if you've ever incurred one, I think everybody in this room has incurred some kind of price increase from somebody within the past year. I know I have. That's where I'm going to cap it. So these rates, when it comes to actual like the weekly service per month rate, I'm profitable at that rate. I can cap you at 1% because I'm profitable at that rate. I can give you sustainability. So what I'm trying to create, and kind of one of the biggest initiatives for me, like when I came into this market, was with a lot of the HOAs. It's a huge learning curve for me because I didn't deal with a lot of HOAs. In which y'all aren't considered HOA. Y'all have the choice to go wherever you want to go, obviously. So it's open market. But I wanted to create sustainability where I keep you for 5, 6, 7 years. It's not every year now we're going to go to a different vendor because we don't like the new rate that we're getting, if that makes sense. So trying to create some sustainability around that and give you a cap on that. The other reason why I can give you a rate like this, we have AJ. So we operate the franchise of Apache Junction. We operate the landfill. We do all of that. That's why I'm in a more favorable situation than he is, to be honest. And he did a really good job. And yeah, I mean, nothing against Larry, he did a really good job. But I'm a little bit more favorable because we are in this area. We have density, we have opportunity there. That helps us be successful. We also have a landfill that's it's called Cactus, but it's in Florence, in the area of Florence, like he does as well. But obviously I'm not going to take it to Florence, I'm going to take it to AJ. So that helps us be, you know, sustainable within your market. But also my big thing is I want to be able to give you the expectation of, hey, okay, my bill just went up. Here was the expectation of why it went up. And here's the rate of what it went up. And then also I'm not trying to tack on fees. So the fee piece, there's a fuel recovery fee, there's an environmental recovery fee. And those can get substantial. And so I'm gonna go ahead and answer that question. So fuel recovery fee, it basically fluctuates based off of the actual fuel piece. So as the market goes up and down, then that fluctuates. What that does for my company is it protects my margin. So if it's $3 a gallon, it's gonna go down the next month, but if it's $5, it's gonna go up. But that allows me to be sustainable and protect my margin, so that way I know I'm always doing favorable business. Does that make sense? The environmental recovery fee is basically the fee that we tack on in order to be able to operate our landfills and be able to, protect ourselves from that as well. Now that one typically it'll be fluid. It'll be standard for roughly about 10 to 12 months typically. And then it might change a little bit, but that'll always stay kind of status quo. Because obviously when we're operating the landfill, our costs are pretty protected when it comes to our labor, when it comes to, any of the equipment that we operate, all those things. We can forecast those things, or we typically can predict those. With that being said, I am done.
Oh,
If you do have questions, you will have a dedicated person that you can contact as far as being able to get any of these services. And somebody local that you can call. Okay. Yeah, that's where I'm gonna end that. But yeah, with that being said, if y'all have any questions, like I said, I'm very transparent. I'm honest to a fault. I can come off with brash a little bit with my honesty, but I try to tell you exactly how it is. But if you do have any questions, yeah, go ahead.
James, I'm Bob Harris. First of all, I'm on the board of Adobe. Adobe is for the betterment of Gold Canyon also. So we have two organizations. But a year and a half ago, I noticed on behalf of the Adobe organization, an ad in the AJ newspaper. And it says Republic Services to begin in AJ starting April 1st of 20. Okay, and so at that time, and it says you'll be billed $32 per quarter. So I looked at my bill with Waste Connection at Brad at that time, and it was twice that. So I went to the Adobe board and said, maybe this is something we can take a look at. And the board agreed. We addressed it at the HOA level. And I think, Larry, did you say 70 HOAs possibly?
There's 7 HOAs here in Gold Canyon.
right, we just
Okay.
have, yeah.
Okay, if any of you are interested, my study that I did a year and a half ago, out of Adobe, I left handouts as you leave. I've only got about a dozen copies out there. But basically, I had to identify the HOAs that were possible recipients. And I identified 21 HOAs here in Gold Canyon. And that's on the list outside. So that's a little bit of background. I had a question about propane fuel on the waste management trucks. It says this vehicle is operated with clean burning propane. Have either one of you looked at that at all with your companies?
No, we're not doing that. We've been diesel fuel for the longest time, and now we're evolving to electric. And we thought about like hydrogen, yes, yeah, I think that's a possibility as well. But strictly electric, possibly hydrogen, but we're not doing propane. No.
Okay.
But we are getting involved to the electric. Matter of fact, it's kind of funny. Our operations team in our North Phoenix yard is so excited because we got a new truck. We got a Ford Lightning, and it's electric, all electric. But that just came in, and we got to rebrand that. But everybody's trying to, get in that truck and drive it. So a lot of fun there. I will say this to add this. I didn't say this, but if you are a part of a community that is considered possibly an HOA, but the waste piece is not involved in your actual HOA, and y'all want to galvanize and get together and be able to, say, hey, we want to take our buying power. We want to see if we can get a better rate than what he proposed here. More than welcome to, discuss that. So if you do have a community that is like that and you want to do that, then let's have that discussion and let's figure that out.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. So Bob, good point. because that is one way. So I know for our community, we had Larry come in, and that's a homeowners association. If you have a board of directors, many of you have new board of directors, right? Just were elected in the spring. And so contact them if you would like to bring one of the trash services in to talk about how your whole community can unite and take advantage of the rates based on the HOA, the number of residents in that HOA participation. So I'm gonna just, because Gold Canyon as a whole, Gold Canyon Community Inc. represents all of Gold Canyon, that's at an HOA level. And so Larry, I mean, both would come in. Larry did a great job in our presentation, so that we could know how to take care of our streets, because in my community, we have private streets. So having limited trash pickup saves ultimately on wear and tear, and really talking to the companies as an HOA of how they can help your community get the best service. So I'm going to let each of Larry, what else would you like to add, or James, on an HOA, what they should do to go back to their board and
Yes, this is
on the
a
schedule?
big perfect example
Yes.
is HOAs, depending on how the structure of the CC&Rs are. You could go out and negotiate, just like any municipality, you can go out and negotiate a sole provider service. What it does is it reduces the amount of traffic on your streets, the amount of trash carts that are out every day of service, if you guys are subscription based. It cleans up the community, and it's just a better profile for service. With the community, depending on the community, we have Perota, which is, is anybody from Perota here? Your guys' bill is done by the HOA, right? It's part of your assessments.
Yes.
So you can only imagine that if you're sending a bill out to the HOA or sending a bill out to all 1,000 homeowners, the amount of money that you will be able to save on that. So it's little things like that that continue to lower down the cost of trash and just reducing the overhead and the amount of infrastructure that it takes to run service. So we do have a couple communities where we are the preferred vendor, and they try to restructure their CC&Rs. They sent it out to vote. People felt like they didn't want a monopoly in their HOA. They wanted to have the ability to pick and choose services, even if that came at the cost of increased road repairs and a lot of the things I was pointing out. But we do a lot of preferred vendor, where if we have 94% of the community, we will restructure the fees dramatically. And just as James said, more people involved gives you better buying power and better bargaining power. So those are, if you're involved with your HOA and you have the ability to communicate and say, hey, if we can get the majority of our community on service to pick Republic or Waste Connections, it's going to benefit the community greatly.
Is there a limit where it's cost effective? Like, I'm in a small HOA, we have like 115 homes. Would that factor in?
Yeah, 115 homes is a pretty decent sized community here in Gold Canyon. So absolutely, we usually set the benchmark at about 94%. 94% participation gets not only the prices down, but it gets you added services too. Added services like monthly bulk.
Yeah.
Or we're really big in community involvement.
Yeah.
Terry, I mean, you know how much we're involved. My deal is not just to collect trash and collect money. As soon as I'm done with this gig, I'm heading out to Santan Valley. I've got a HOA, a very large HOA that's doing their Spring Fest. So I'm going to be out there making cotton candy and handing it out to the kids. That's my afternoon. And I do that every weekend because I think it's important to be involved with the communities that we service. So that's one of the things that we are really proud about. And our renewal rate is 100%. Since I've been with the company, We haven't lost the municipality. We have 100% renewal with our HOAs. And it's something that I'm very proud of and that we promote.
This is a question for Larry and James both, and I think James was actually referring to this beyond the HOA, okay? If Gold Canyon residents, not Gold Canyon Inc., but let's say Gold Canyon residents in general, okay? Like, okay, I know AJ's a city, they're contracted, okay? But if enough Gold Canyon residents said, you know, we as a community would like to contract, what would that look like and how would that be framed? How would you need to hear from individual residents or beyond an HOA? Because obviously there are some HOAs that aren't contracted. But if there were enough individual residents, how would you frame that? That's one question.
I think I've already framed that, to be honest, with the pricing that I gave you. From a stability standpoint, where I'm showing you that I am being profitable, I have a decent margin. I'm not being overly aggressive. And then the PI piece, from a price increase standpoint, I'm gonna count it at 1% year by year. And then the other piece is I'm not tacking on fuel recovery fees, I'm not tacking on environmental recovery fees, I'm not adding any of those fees. So all that's inclusive right there is basically the overall monthly rate.
That's inclusive, I'm sorry, James, of those fees.
Yeah, there is no extra fee. The only thing the extra you would see on the actual bill would be tax.
Okay.
That would be it. So that 23 plus tax, that's it. And then if I PI you, it's gonna be 20 cents or whatever it might be, the 1% of that 23 bucks per
Okay.
month.
Because I know there are some, so I know you have a hand back there, I haven't forgotten. That
Unfortunately,
have,
to build it, excuse me, I apologize, but to build it around like, having so many residents sign up, that's a huge challenge
Yeah.
and a huge ask, to be honest.
understand.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay, and also I know there are some companies that offer senior discounts, which I know are not available by all companies. So that's one thing that people have had a question about. And also there's been some concerns that when the rates do go up, there has not been the communication about that. They just simply, they all of a sudden it's like, oh, my bill is raised, but I didn't know. So those are just concerns that for both of you that I've heard in the community.
My billing processing is extremely old. So with that to be said, the piece of like being able to communicate on that, it's pretty lacking, to be honest. Do we communicate the month prior that we're gonna actually increase your price? We do. Is this something that just is highlighted? No. Is it on the document? Yes, I can show you where the document is, but if you're like me, see the bill, I pay it. I don't read through all the fine print, detail. Is it on there? Yes, we do express it the month prior. But that's also why when I say price increase 1%, nobody does that. I have people right now, to be transparent, they get price increase 20%. So when I say that I'm going to cap it at 1% month, every year, which will happen basically in a 10, 12 month prior, time frame, then that's where I'm trying to build stability around all of you. And so that what I would say is basically, nobody in the industry is doing that. I mean, y'all are getting price increase by other vendors and utilities and, other people right now like crazy, I'm sure. I know I am.
Yeah.
And I want to go to you.
Thank
So-
you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I want to clarify something. So you said that 1% increase covers the fuel recovery and environmental.
No.
Not sure. So if ours went up 25% in the last year, say hypothetically with your company, that was because of fuel and environment.
No, it's because overall cost is what it is. Overall cost, and that's how we structure it, and that's
So the
dictated.
is the 1% just for individuals or is it for HOAs only?
No, that's gonna be for individuals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
so
answers the question.
what I'm getting at for anybody that's within this room, because the way that I took this conversation as far as coming into this room was nobody's an HOA in here, right?
No, I am.
Everybody's open market. Now, is it negotiable with HOAs? Yes, it is negotiable. If you went up that much on an HOA, then you and I need to have a conversation out the door and we can discuss that. But
And so that, I'm cool. Can I go with my next question?
yeah,
Larry,
Yes.
do you offer different can sizes so that our small garages would actually hold 2 cans in the size of the 1 can? Because that seems to be the big deal, that there's no room in our garages because everybody built in those wonderful shelves that you come with. Have anything different?
So yes, we find that 55+ communities are very limited on space when it comes to garages. So there's a yes and no part of this question, so I'm gonna give you both sides of it. Yes, we do, but it requires 100% participation for the community.
That it would be so cool.
The reason why is because our drivers have to readjust the arms of the truck. And on the smaller carts, it won't grab it, or on the bigger carts, when we adjust it, it just crushes the heck out of it.
Okay,
So
and that axle truck, you use it if there's cul-de-sacs, so it doesn't tear up streets?
that's majority of our fleet in Apache Junction is on the STAR system.
Okay.
And they do reduce the wear and tear on streets.
Okay.
And it's the sole reason, well, no, I mean, that's not correct. It is one of the reasons why the town of Queen Creek elected right-of-way disposal, Waste Connections of Arizona, is because of the configuration of their trucks and how it does preserve the streets, the longevity of them.
Okay, one more. Can I, as an individual, drop recycling off at your recycling center over there?
We have that available. Sadly, we had an incident where a homeowner veered off the path and was injured.
But that was probably in about 2019 when suddenly I.
Yeah.
Okay.
But is what we do is a annual customer appreciation day where you can come to our facility. We do it right after the holiday. It's where there's a lot of holiday residual, whether if it's Christmas trees or furniture, appliances, whatever the case may be, is that you can bring this to our facility, drop it off. We have people staff there to make sure that everybody's secure and safe. And you can drop those materials off. And usually we hand out ice cream or whatever the case, and make it worth your time to come down and visit us.
So like in the dark at night in my black hoodie, there's nowhere for me to go.
That's this gentleman right here, Joe.
Very stealthy, I like it.
Larry, on your rate system, maybe I missed it, but you did not give a price for once a week versus twice a week.
So great question. So there's an ordinance through both the county and the state that requires that we do one of two. Trash and recycling once a week or twice a week trash. That's the variance that we are held to, both from the state of Arizona, which is EDEQ, Arizona Department of Arizona Department of Environmental Quality, and the county. And those require that you have to provide one of those two services. That's the health outline that are in place. So because there's such a diverse demand for service, we provide all of it. So twice a week trash and twice a week trash with recycling. I would love to send a truck in here just to collect trash once a week.
Yes.
There are companies.
Sadly, we have to, even if there's 3 people that want twice a week trash, we still have to send that truck out here to service those 3 people. And I guarantee you, they're not living right next to each other. They're on every aspect of Gold Canyon. So you have to travel there, there, and there. It's the same cost, the same, that truck costs the same amount of money, that driver costs the same amount. I mean, the whole service outline is set cost. And so when you have a few individuals that want twice a week trash, and that's the profile that they live by, well, then you have to provide all 3 services. Well,
Larry, I noticed on my quarterly bill with Waste Connections, you got a fuel surcharge for the first time.
Yeah.
Previous quarters, there was no fuel
Correct.
surcharge. And in 1 year, my bill's gone from 73 to 108.
Yeah.
With the fuel surcharge in 1 year.
it's been a tough bullet to bite this last 2 years. I'm sure that you guys have just recently filled up your car here just within the last couple of days. Just in the last 2 weeks, I've seen fuel go up another 70 cents. Can you imagine what the diesel fuel costs? How many have diesel cars here? I mean, what were you paying for diesel fuel just 2 weeks ago?
Well, it's a bit less than it is now, and I don't drive the truck that much that I have to fill it up that often. But when we talk fuel prices, it's amazing, price of a gallon of diesel in Tucson versus the price of a gallon of diesel here in Phoenix.
Yeah.
It's at least 50 cents different.
Yeah.
A dollar.
So you can only imagine trying to negotiate fuel and having long term when you can't forecast what the fuel's going to be in a month. So it's Las Vegas. It's really, you're gambling on what you're going to lock in your fuel rate. And we lock in our fuel rates for 2 years. And we have people that study this and analyze it and really take a lot of time to make the right call. And so we've got our fuel locked in. And hopefully it's gonna be, we did it at the right time.
Gonna go to
Jen.
him, right?
Yeah, in the back.
Of course, and then we'll come right to you.
Yeah.
And if you still have a question, we'll go to you, and I'll tell you as well.
Thank you.
Question is for you, James.
Yes, sir.
Are you- in my street area community, they're saying you're not offering recycling services. Is that apt to change at all?
What area is that?
Just off here, Sleepy Hollow, Hermosa Hills.
If you don't mind, if you'll email me that information, like I said, in July, and I will get an answer for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's on.
Yeah, I apologize for not being able to answer right now, but
And then one other quick one. Yeah, I'll skip it. Go on.
no, if you tell me east, west, north, I couldn't tell you right now, so.
No, that's
But yeah, if you have my email address, otherwise I'll give it to you, or my phone number, and you can contact me, and we can figure that out.
And you have it on your agenda, so. Mhm,
No, I appreciate that. I hate to not be able to answer, but I'm not gonna give you an answer. Somehow.
fair enough.
Just here.
Bob and I both live in the same areas, and why is his bill $108, mine's $115
Are you, so you're
in
working?
the area?
Oh, okay.
108, 115. So. And you guys have the exact same service,
We both live in Mountain Brook Hill.
Twice a week.
twice a week trash
Yeah,
and recycling?
No recycling.
Do you have recycling?
no recycling.
Yeah, let me sit down and get your information and I'll take a good look at it.
So Bob, your rate's going up.
Can tell that.
Percent of customers recycle, you guys say? What percent of your customers recycle? And why doesn't Arizona recycle better? And why isn't there recycling centers that are options?
I think, so one piece is the transport piece. And not being efficient in that regard, especially with being in the valley and where we have to take it from a commodity standpoint. Economic conditions as far as China, we used to divert about 90 to 95% of our commodities to China. That no longer is happening. The government is now basically making it where it's a requirement for companies that are manufacturing different products, whether they be plastics or whatever commodity that they can use to be able to manufacture those. They're actually making it a requirement that they have to divert and use so much commodities to be able to make those products. A good example would be like your 5-gallon bucket that you get at Home Depot or Lowe's, whatever it might be. They're going to be required for a certain percentage of that actual product to be now manufactured with recycled commodities. So there's a push there. The other piece is recycling more expensive for Larry and I. It is. Because when you take into consideration like the actual recycling facility, how many people have to man that, and then now they're having to move pieces on a conveyor belt, be able to divert this, divert that. This is actually contaminated. We can't use that product. So we got to move this over here, and then obviously haul that to a landfill. Yes, it is more expensive. It's way more efficient. I came from Texas where we didn't recycle at all, and it was in West Texas. That's very unfortunate. The only thing we recycle was metal because you get a rebate back. But otherwise, it was going to the landfill, and we owned the landfill, so we were paying ourselves to be able to take it. And that's where we wanted to take it. Is there going to be a huge push over the next few years to be able to recycle? Yes, and that's definitely the direction we want to go. like I said, we're building a recycle facility, it's brand new, state of the art, everything brand new. That'll be open this year in May, June, or July. So we're getting there. Is it on the timeline that we want to be? No. The other piece that I would say, eventually you're gonna see organics being recycled as well. That's happening in California.
For compost, like.
Um,
Oh.
I have a negative opinion about it. Because the cost is significant, to be able to do that. And then to your liking, you asked about container size. Now you have 3 containers. You got recycling, and you have your regular MSW. And to be able to divert all those, now we have 3 trucks that are going in. So there's a lot more costs associated with being able to grab all those containers, and being able to divert all that waste. So that's a very different environment that California is experiencing right now.
What percent customers recycle? To me, it's a sin that we have people that just throw all this recycling away. I live in communities. It was a little, we had to, and we always did it, but it's cheaper. And I mean, my neighbor throws all of his aluminum cans and everything, cardboard, everything. It goes in the landfills. To me, as a paper boy, we used to collect paper drive.
I totally agree with you, and it's unreal if you start actually moving from one can to another, how much actually gets recycled. It's unreal.
Excuse me,
But I don't have that exact percentage though.
excuse me, but we used to, when I first moved here, there were some recycling.
They used to have them, we could
By
drop
the
them
share.
Yes,
Yeah.
What happened,
We have that right.
they started dumping all their other trash, in,
that's correct.
and they had hauled away.
On that a little bit.
Oh, Larry's gonna stand a question.
Yeah, we had to wrap it
I'd
up.
like to expand on the recycled part of it though.
Yes.
Yeah, is that, to answer your question as how many, the percent of 100% of our residents recycle that are HOA based and municipality based. We have 11 different municipalities, including Coolidge, Florence, Globe, Goodyear, Town of Clean Creek. And then all of our HOAs are 100% recycled. They get once a week trash and recycling. There's a lot of accountability for our municipalities to stand with recycling, and it's pretty simple. It could be the difference of a company who has sustainability goals that they want to be in a community that recycles, because that's their goal, that's their target, that's what they talk about. Perfect case in point is Lucent, the car manufacturer here in Casa Grande. They moved into Casa Grande, and because they checked all the boxes as to sustainability, a lot of things that they believe in, and then shortly after they moved in, Casa Grande removed the recycling program. Well, Lucent has a big word in that, and so there's a big conversation of them bringing recycling back because it doesn't fulfill their goals.
Yes.
So do either companies offer an option, say in a smaller HOA community where you would have maybe 4 containers where the whole community could bring stuff, recycle and take away? Do either of you have that, or is it always an individual home that has to have?
I'm not only one. Just as long as you have a spot in place where it's efficient and we can actually do it. Yes, we got that. To the recycling piece, not 100% on mine. I give you the choice. If they want to do 2 weeks, twice a week pickup on trash, so be it. I'm going to take whatever the HOA wants to do.
When the HOA does it, that's because it's one fee. This way, if you're individual, I gotta pay $21 extra. My other neighbors just throw it all away.
Yeah, I give you the choice.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I have a dedicated location for trash and recycling. We could do that too, but one of the problems with that is exactly what you guys are talking about with rogue, unsupervised containers. It becomes a breeding ground for illegal dumping.
Yeah, this would be the gated community.
Easy to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so good to know.
Could I get you?
Isabel.
Community is.
Yeah,
Okay, got it. Makes sense. Oh, yeah, you could easily do that.
Okay, real quick. I was very surprised when we moved here from Chandler that no glass is being accepted in the recycling. Why?
Huge challenge,
Okay,
very huge challenge.
okay, tackle it.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, the reality of it is majority of it typically is contaminated. It's just for us to be able to divert it it's just a huge challenge and it's a huge expense to be able to divert it, so.
But Chandler is doing it, right? Whoever does the trash for them, yep.
Because of the actual, the amount we're getting, the volume. And that's the reason being, and that was negotiated with Chandler, and we're taking care of that, I guess. But it was the volume piece that, okay, we'll tackle this, yes.
Okay, we have time for, go ahead, sorry, Larry.
So the glass part of it is the sustainability part of it, the carbon footprint left behind with glass. Glass is, does anybody know what the composition of glass is?
So
Sand, ash. We have an abundance. I live in the desert. I know that we have an abundance of sand. The carbon footprint left behind with glass is that you collect it in single stream. Our trucks compact it. By the time that it gets to our facility, it is glass cullet that is so small and it's contaminated with other stuff. So what you have to do with glass is that you got to scrub it. Scrub the glass, you got to take all of the other things out of there, like shredded paper, metals, whatever those little pieces are. So you got to separate that all out of there. That takes a lot of labor, a lot of electricity, a lot of other things that go behind that. Once you got it down to a cullet that's separated from all the other trash, then you have to separate it by color for it to be recyclable. So you have to green, blue, brown. We send that to a company. We have sent it to a company that's in Phoenix. They do it by fiber optics. They separate it by color. Well, now you exhaust transportation all the way down to Phoenix, exhausting fumes with that transportation. Then you got to separate it, more electricity that goes into it. And then you got to get somewhere to recycle, to turn it back into glass. There's only a few places on the West Coast, and one of them's in California, or you got to go down to Cal Central in Mexico, where it's the biggest glass manufacturer for containers. And then you got to ship it all the way down there. Once it gets there, it takes greater electricity to melt glass than it does sand and ash, the virgin materials. So the carbon footprint left behind on glass is a very dirty process. It's the reason why several municipalities, and just recently Mesa, city of Tucson, and other municipalities are getting away from the glass aspect of it. So that's, sorry for the long story, but that's
No, great
that's the
explanation. Thank you.
sustainability standpoint.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
Two more questions, Zach.
Okay. I'm originally from Missouri, and what we had, and I don't know if this could be an option to save from yet another container in our garages, is we used bags, recycling bags, and it was so easy in my garage, I just hang them up. And one bag would be for newspapers, whatever, and others would be for plastics, whatever. And it was so easy, and we just throw it right into our trash bin, and then our waste our waste company back then would just separate it and take the bags out, and that would be the recycling. And it took up no little room in my garage, and it was easy. And and when you ran out, you would tie your bag on the bin, and they would drop another roll of bags off to you.
That's amazing. I would love to do it.
It was great.
You're a rock star. Give me 200 people. They're not all rock stars. It is the best way to do that. We would still have to have people that are going to be able to go through those bags and be able to say, okay, this goes here.
Same if you're doing recycling and people are worried about space in the garage. That's a nice viable option.
Yeah.
That's just
No, it's great feedback.
My question is whether or not Republic has the vacation hold charge that Waste Connections does.
We do typically, don't have a good answer for that one. I wasn't prepared for that, but I can get you an answer for that one.
Well, what you
I don't see a reason why we can't do a vacation hold, from a pricing standpoint and not incur an actual fee.
Right.
I don't think there's any issues with that. I wouldn't see any foreseen issues.
Okay.
But if you want to email me or call me, I'll give you a very direct answer, and that's a good follow-up question from you, Judy.
Do you add that to the report that will be on the gold can?
Yeah, that question is good for the group, so we'll get the answer to that and then put that in our summation of the meeting. Good.
Yeah,
One other question, the cost of reactivation at Waste Connections is $6 if it's for $50, excuse me, if it's 6 months, if it's longer, how much is it?
So 90 days is the term. So no cost to put your vacation home for 90 days,
And is that once per year?
once per year. Correct.
That's the $50 fee.
So,
If we're gone from here for 9 months, how much does it cost us?
so 90 days is free. After 90 days, there's a $50 reactivation fee. So up to 6 months.
What do you get for $50?
It costs to call in, set up the account, reestablish it and everything. So there's a little work that goes behind that.
What is it after 6 months? If it's more than 6 months, it's.
After 6 months, your service automatically starts back up again, whether if you're here or not. And
Oh,
that's
we start paying for it again,
Yeah.
correct? I forgot that.
It's
Is that
here
6
for
months
the
plus?
residents, correct?
right.
Is that 6 months plus 90 days or 6 months total?
90 days free. After 90 days, $50 reactivation fee between 1 and 6 months.
So
After
that's
6
the 90
months.
days is already, so basically you can get an extra 3 months.
Yeah, for 50. Yeah.
Is anyone in here with Republic?
They've got over here and over
If
here.
you like that rate, you get it. So,
What was
Yeah.
that?
since you like the rate we gave you, then you'll get it. I guess that's actions.
Okay, we have last question because in respect of time for everybody to need to close.
Me?
Yes, go ahead.
Couple questions here. One question is, how soon is the landfill to the Apache Junction people? And is that a Republic?
It's our public facility, it's owned by Acre. Lifespan, that's kind of a loaded question, because, basically, we have probably roughly about 60 years left.
60?
Yeah, as far as that, we're talking about height, so, we're talking horizontally within the actual land space. Now, AJ says, hey, you can go higher, there's more years, right? I can continue to go high and I can build a nice little mountain.
I thought they capped that.
Well, they can cap that, but if they, times change and they say, hey, we'll allow you to go higher, and create a different horizon, then yeah. Would I love for them to go higher from a business standpoint? Yes. I would rather go higher than then purchase more land and then I have to build more cells and go this way, horizontally. It's more profitable for me to continue to go vertical, from a business standpoint. It can, depending on who's looking at it, and, obviously we try to control it from impacting residents and control the waste piece. And that's why we built fencing, and that's why we, try to make sure that it all gets contained. And that's why the dirt is so important, for cover, when it comes to all those materials, to make sure that they don't get blown away as well.
Daily cover?
Was that?
You do you do daily cover?
We do, and there's a large expense that's involved in that, because we always want dirt and cover. So anytime we get an opportunity to be able to take some dirt from somebody that wants to get rid of it,
I was very happy that they had a whole fleet of dirt dogs, and that's all they did was sell it.
and we love that, and that's limited here because of the elevation that we have, obviously the mountain ground digging.
I do have a follow-up question for Larry, and that is back to the part size. I live in Australia, everybody has 6 gallon parts. Mine was broken, called, I get a 94, 96 gallon. Is that going to be the normal, because they're dropping those off?
This request, make sure that, it could have been, our default is 95 gallon. It's 90% of our service is 95 gallon. So default, a lot of times, it might have been an error on our customer service standpoint.
Should we call and have them pull those parts?
Sure, just tell them that you want your 65 gallons back and.
I mean, I don't care, it's a loser money for you.
What, that is a great thing for you, because you got more space to be able to put more
I
trash
could
recycling.
I could use a 32 gallon, but that's.
Right.
Okay, we need to wrap up. I want to thank Larry and James for being here. You have a question that didn't get answered, you have contact information on the agenda, you can email you. Thank you.
I just want, couple more things, guys. Did you guys find this helpful today? Well, we want.
Does anybody want to come out and help me do some cotton candy today?
We did want to talk about our next meeting. So Gold Canyon Community Inc. make sure that you sign up if you haven't logged in to get your email address. And what that will do is we send out a newsletter. So that way, you know, our meeting topics. You'll have a link to our website where we're going to put this information so you can go back and look at these PowerPoint presentations. And that way you can keep up with upcoming meetings that we have, because we love your feedback of what's important to you. And we felt this was important. So you learned some things today about why things are they are. And so I encourage you, tell your neighbors and friends to come to our future meetings for Gold Canyon Community Inc. We are going to convert to Saturdays, our busy days, for cotton candy, golf, all kinds of things, playing with your family and hiking in our beautiful weather. So we're going to convert in May to the first Tuesday of the month. Okay. And in the evening, right here at the Mission Center. So it'll be at 6 o'clock. Okay. And then in addition to that, we have a Water More Precious Than Gold quarterly meeting that we're going to get out an email to you when that will be as well. And so really stay tuned with Gold Canyon Community Inc. and all our work to really sustain the way of life that we have here at Gold Canyon.
Can I mention that?
Go ahead, Dave.
In our next meeting in
Yep.
May, we're gonna have another forum type of presentation. And we've got some people that are involved in providing services for seniors. So we've got a couple of individuals who work with seniors who maybe want to need to know how to get information from certain things. And we have an individual who is works with families to maybe help. Don't want to say this in a negative way, but if someone is looking for a transition for an elderly person to a nursing home, that person helps with that kind of thing. So we're gonna have that kind of information. And I want to mention, I think you emailed me about the recycling thing. Or
At one time, yeah.
Somebody did, and my answer was that I was with Republic years ago, and they didn't recycle. But Rad did, so I switched that. So that was my response to you. But now, obviously, they do. So all bids are off.
Yeah, I gotta follow up with you on that. So feel free to reach out to me. I will get your response.
So I wanted to thank again, James. I wanted to let you know, James had stepped in yesterday to do this because Jeff, another leader and executive with Republic Services, had a family emergency come up suddenly. So I want to thank James for coming in. He didn't get quite as much a background as, with the timing, but I really appreciate him taking his personal time to come today and share about Republic. And Larry, these gentlemen's, busy too in their personal time to come at our invitation. So thank you, Larry, very much from Waste Connections and James from Republic Services. Great job, guys. Very.
That's the miniature chest. Oh, you guys got one? So that's not a new size. And we're not gonna be servicing that. Want to make sure you guys are perfectly clear on that. There. Stop it.
You got
It's on the bottom.
Thanks, Larry. Larry, great job. Okay.
Great question.